You are watching the news summary on Kazakh TV. This is the review of the major news of the week from Kazakhstan. I'm Jana Sagandikova. 2 weeks have elapsed since the accession of Kazakhstan to the World Trade Organization. Are Kazakh producers ready to compete with their foreign counterparts within the WTO? What kind of challenges the local business will face and what the entrepreneurs are expecting from membership in the WTO? Our correspondents sought answers to all of these questions.
The competitive environment or a new challenge for the domestic business. In December, when Kazakhstan becomes a full member of the WTO, an advantage will be on the side of the producers who, along with quality, give customers reasonable prices. According to the analyst of the Center of State-Private Partnership, Daniar Jumatayev, entrepreneurs have at least 3 years in order to orient the business for a good competition.
Условия, которые были достигнуты, будут внедряться постепенно и поэтапно.
Conditions that have been made will be implemented gradually and by stages, because the main condition is to avoid shocking situations and to support domestic producers. Kazakh nationals will get advantages within the WTO accession, such as cheaper imported goods, but this will be possible, according to the Minister of National Economy and the government of Kazakhstan, approximately after 3 years.
Такие как более дешевые импортные товары, они будут достигнуты, но будут достигнуты через 3 года ориентировочно.
Capital's plant for the production of silk concrete is the largest player in the construction market in Kazakhstan. Over 13 years, the management was able to establish the production and also enter new markets. Now the plant supplies ready-to-use building materials in Russia and Kyrgyzstan. In the future, the management plans to upgrade the equipment by reducing customs duties and due to the membership in the WTO. We expect that import duties on equipment will be reduced in 5 years, since we are working with the qualitative Western equipment from Germany and the Netherlands. For us, of course, it is important. However, it would be possible to upgrade the production by franchising, when brand companies share their technologies, marketing and management with others within one chain on an equal owner's base. According to experts in the WTO, such scenario literally gives the local plant a second life, but only within a competitive economy.
The domestic entrepreneurs will have to look for alternative ways to compete with imported products. This means that Kazakh entrepreneurs will need to introduce new technologies and innovations in their enterprises, according to Director of the Center for Social and Economic Research, Shangildy Shimshikov. The WTO membership gives equal conditions to all market players.
This should force our manufacturers to reconsider the current system, to diversify, to move to other spheres, to introduce new innovations. Only innovations can rescue our business in a competitive environment. In the long term, I think the best venues and opportunities will be available for us. At least we will be able to equivalently act with all partners within the WTO.
What could represent Kazakhstan on the global market? According to the expert, the Kazakh metals, both ferrous and non-ferrous and rare earth, are still in demand among foreign partners. In addition, the country continues to export nuclear fuel, particularly uranium. According to The Economist, agriculture can gain great rates. Kazakhstan has received permission from the WTO to increase subsidies to this industry. Now, 8.5% of GDP will be allocated to agriculture. But most importantly, the expert said the Republic should move away from the export of raw materials and start selling finished products.
The WTO should force us to review many of our industries. In the end, the raw material game is over. In the near future, oil prices will not rise. The sanctions against Iran are removed. Iran comes with its oil. The situation in Iraq stabilizes. So big oil comes to the market and prices will fall even lower.
What are the chances for Kazakhstan to become a major player within the WTO? Russian and Kyrgyz economists share their view on the situation based on the World Trade Organization experience.
Kyrgyzstan was the first post-Soviet country to enter the WTO. It was immediately overloaded by imported products, mainly from China, and the domestic manufacturers were not ready for such scale of competition. Then Kyrgyzstan decided to integrate into the regional economic unions.
Практически каждый участник ВТО вступает в какой-нибудь региональный.
Almost every WTO participant enters into the regional alliance or a union. Some enter into 2, some into 4. There are leaders that entered into 12 regional unions. Therefore, the EAEU and the WTO don't oppose each other, they are one. This is a sort of matryoshka doll when the domestic market comes out of the EAEUs and global markets. But Kazakhstan has a lot more chances, the Kyrgyz neighbors say. Access to the sea, a well-developed network of railways and major airports show countries huge transit potential. After joining the WTO, Kazakhstan can regulate trade flows between Europe and Asia. However, the ordinary Kazakhs will also be able to feel the benefits of the global economy.
Я, честно, рад за мелкий бизнес, я, честно, рад за граждан Казахстана, потому что...
I am truly glad for small enterprises and for Kazakh citizens because the WTO membership provides the economy with new technologies, with new products that are cheaper and better. Moreover, this will be very timely given the current crisis. Russian economists are already counting the profits from the WTO accession. They note that the positive changes have affected the export-oriented enterprises. The barriers to access the international markets disappeared in such areas as metallurgy, chemical industry, and power. Experts also call the main advantage Russia has developed the mechanisms for protection of its own commercial interests on the international arena.
От ВТО выиграло население, потому что именно...
The public has benefited from the WTO because taxes from export companies are the backbone of our budget and hence are the basis for social programs in the industrial sector. This makes the products cheaper in our market and helps the people. The cheaper the product, the more affordable it is.
Тоже помогает населению, потому что чем дешевле товар, тем вам легче его купить.
In Kazakhstan, as in Russia, the protective measures to support producers have been extended to several years. The most vulnerable sectors will receive state subsidies. In 5 years, it will enable the agriculture and engineering to get stronger and to become competitive. In addition, according to experts, Kazakhstan's accession to the WTO is a great opportunity to transform itself from a regional leader to the largest party in the global economic process.
The low-enriched uranium bank will be launched in Kazakhstan approximately in 2017. By then, the International Atomic Energy Agency is expected to bring everything necessary for proper storage. The official announcement of the new strategic facility will be documented on the 27th of August this year. The official signing ceremony will be attended by the International Atomic Energy Agency Director General. The foreign ministers of the Nuclear Five, Russia, China, Britain, France and the United States, have also been invited. The low-enriched uranium will be stored in Ust-Kamenogorsk on the territory of the Lubinsk metallurgical plant. The facility will be owned by the International Atomic Energy Agency, and Kazakhstan will only be responsible for its safety.
Ульбинский металлургический завод работает с таким материалом на протяжении 65 лет.
The Olbinsk metallurgical plant has been working with such materials for 65 years. This company has taken all measures to ensure the environmental safety. Experts do not see any risk to the environment in connection with the deployment of an additional 60 tons of LEU.
В связи с размещением дополнительно 60 тонн низкообогащенного урана эксперты не видят.
Ульбинский завод, например, он осуществляет коммерческие операции.
The Olbinsk plant carries out commercial operations by storing the same material in the cylinders, and in general, the conditions will not change this time.
Kazakh cosmonaut will hold an experiment called the Hurricane on the ISS. There is a little less than a month left before the launch of the Aydin Aymbetow's rocket to the ISS. The Kazakhstani will participate in several experiments during his travel to space. My Kazakh TV colleague has more details about this important mission.
The flight of Kazakhstani Aydin Aymbetov to the ISS will last 10 days. The scientific program, which is prepared by the National Center for Space Research and Technology, includes 10 experiments. The Hurricane is one of the most important.
This
experiment is about monitoring sensitive areas of Kazakhstan, such as the Caspian region and the Aral Sea. The National Center for Space Research and Technology has made emphasis on the application of remote sensing of the Earth, which it has been developing for nearly 20 years. The pictures taken from space allow fixing the oil spill, the movement of dust storms, snow cover, and moisture reserves. Moreover, they are of great importance for the economy of Kazakhstan.
связано с применением их для сельского хозяйства.
It is connected with agriculture for emergencies monitoring and forecasting, say also agricultural products, and possibly predicting such natural disasters as floods and fires.
И, возможно, прогнозы таких техногенных и природных катастроф, как наводнения, пожары.
New experiments will become a logical continuation of Tokhtar Aubakirov and Talgat Musabayev research studies conducted on the space orbit.
Modern gadgets are really useful these days. Now people can even verify the authenticity of alcoholic beverages with their help. The State Revenue Committee of the Ministry of Finance has launched a mobile application called Weapon. Excise stamp scanning displays the information on whether the alcoholic beverage is genuine. The developers claim that if the device identifies the product as counterfeit, then information immediately becomes available to the committee. The application is available for the iOS, Android and Windows phone operating systems. Causes of Kazakh cygades are being investigated in the laboratories of the United Kingdom and Germany. A dedicated scientific expedition explored the whole journey of the Red Book animals and made a preliminary conclusion. Researchers claim, however, that there is still a lot of work.
As an expedition member, the German researcher Stefan Sutter visited 5 regions of Kazakhstan from the south to the north. On their way to the Saiga, they collected samples of water, soil and grass. One part has already been sent abroad. The other one is studied in Kazakhstan. The scientists have already made a preliminary conclusion.
Причина смерти этих сайгаков является
The cause of Saiga's death is hemorrhagic septicemia. It is an infection caused by different bacteria, which then releases a lot of toxins. This is the reason the Saiga antilopes died.
выделяет много токсинов, из-за этого сайгаки умирают.
If the scientists' assumptions are confirmed scientifically, they would need to find out what was the reason for the spread of the bacteria. The specialists still speculate on this account. Experts suspect that ticks could be the carriers of the pathogenic bacteria. There's plenty of them at the end of April and beginning of May. The Kazakh scientists also will have to create a plan to prevent mass deaths, for example, in the following year. Today, scientists confess that they have not yet started working on it. They will start only after the conclusion of laboratory technicians.
Reconstruction works in the mudslide which hit Alatau and Norisbai areas of Almaty are still ongoing. These areas have suffered a mudslide on July 23rd. The streets along the Kargalinka River have been already cleared. The supply of electricity, natural gas and communication has been restored. But for the moment, the water can only be used for technical purposes like watering the garden or washing purposes.
The drinking water is delivered in tanks every day. The city officials inspected not only the progress of reconstruction work, but also the water station, pumping station, the dam, and met with residents whose houses were located on the path of the mud flow. The victims said they returned to their previous regular lives. They thanked all the agencies and volunteers involved in the elimination of emergency situations. Among them was a foreigner. His first visit to Kazakhstan, a Japanese national, Yoshihiro Suzuki, calls unconventional. His tourist route was completed at the site of the emergency. Yoshihiro learned about the mud flow in Almaty from friends who live in Kargalinka, but while he was helping to clean the rubbles, he was robbed. A video footage captured a thief stealing his bag with money and credit cards out of the car and quickly running off the scene.
Everybody just moving, and just back to the car, and I lost my baggage, and I lost everything that time. Something like I lost the pastime in the future.
The volunteers posted about the incident in social networks, and within a few hours, Kazakhstanis offered to help the Japanese guest. We have returned his documents and bank cards, but because they have been blocked, we decided to buy him a ticket from Almaty to Tokyo. The search for the criminals is ongoing, but the guest from Japan has already stated he will definitely come to Kazakhstan again.
Balkhash residents domesticate the deserted steppes with the support of the Ministry of Agriculture and the UNDP. These lands are abundant with vegetation that can be used as food for the domestic livestock. However, large areas remain undeveloped due to the distance from settlements and the lack of water. How does one turn a desert into an oasis?
There were very few volunteers when Balkhash residents were offered to take part in the pilot project on the development of the desert ecosystem. Nobody wanted to live in a desert without water and electricity, but the creators of the project had reminded that it was the 21st century and they have helped to build a ranch 35 kilometers away from the district center. Thanks to the green technologies, 400 heads of cattle were supplied with water. If project participants have insufficient funds, they may be eligible for a subsidized loan at 4% per annum.
Для того, чтобы вывести скот из ближайших сел,
In order to bring the cattle from nearby villages, we created a pilot site. We provided water in the first place. This is the wind pump right here, accommodation right here, and we also provided electricity. Today in this trailer you can live. The fridge and TV also work. Another project was launched last year. It aims to preserve the turanga tree. The shade of its branches is always cool. Although the plant, which is so rare on our planet, is unpretentious, it could disappear forever. The livestock are trampling down on its delicate seeds.
На этом месте, видите, уже начаты тоже.
In this place, as you can see, the area was already fenced. The site was selected and the seeds were collected. It is planned to grow them in the laboratory of the Almaty region and then the next year to plant them here and show the experience in growing of turanga plants.
И показать, по применению опыта именно.
Kazakhstan's desert ecosystems now occupy most of the country and cover 136 million hectares. Besides the Balkhash area, the pilot projects of the Minister of Agriculture and the UNDP were launched in the Mangistau and Atara regions.
More than 2 million people are expected to visit the Expo in 2017. According to experts, estimate 300,000 of them will arrive from foreign countries. Currently, the staff of the national company Astana Expo 2017 is developing special tour packages to raise interest and attract more tourists to the exhibition. To do this, a register is being developed which will include hotels, canteens and interesting tourist destinations in nearby areas. Experts believe that this will extend the so-called Expo effect for the whole country. A special registry will include hotels, canteens and interesting tourist destinations in both the Kazakh capital Astana and its suburbs. The database, according to experts, will extend the so-called Expo effect.
Помимо Астаны, экономический эффект от Экспо.
In addition to Astana, the Expo will have an economic effect on other regions. For this purpose, tourist routes from Astana are being organized so that foreign tourists arriving in Astana would be able to move easily to other regions. Relevant work is underway.
Другие регионы страны.
Foreign travel agencies are also going to include the Expo trips in their packages, and this will attract a large number of foreign tourists, experts say.
Из 20 стран туристов мы ждем визовый режим.
We are planning to welcome tourists from 20 countries. Kazakhstan has abolished visas. Tourists will be able to freely enter our country. We pay particular attention to the agreement with China, which is a very important partner of Kazakhstan. We need to make visitors' stay in Kazakhstan comfortable.
Для нас туристически.
The Kazakh side is also planning to include the Expo fee in the price of the airfare to Astana, both for direct flights and transit passengers. Another introduction was made ahead of the International Exhibition Expo 2017 by the National Guard, a new uniform. The defenders of Kazakhstan will serve and protect public order in presentable dark blue uniforms.
Another reason to change the military uniform is the upcoming 20th anniversary of the Constitution. The presentable clothing, restrained tone, a formal suit and a cap. That is the new look for the guardians of public order. We decided not to use the camouflaged uniforms. First, we perform tasks in the capital of our country. There are a lot of visitors in Astana. We strive to shape our militaries to correspond to the status of the capital. The old uniform has no difference in price with the current one. New uniforms were sewn at a Semipalatinsk sewing factory. 5,000 sets were already sewed. One of the soldiers, Kanat Kasenov, was among the first soldiers to wear the uniform. It is very original, and it seems to me there is no similar uniform in Kazakhstan. I think that the camouflaged uniform is not as practical as this one. This is more practical and more comfortable to wear. So far, they will be patrolling the streets of the capital in new uniforms. Then the uniforms will be supplied to Almaty. The next year, the new uniform will be provided for the military across the country.
Cycling all the way from Milan to Astana on a bike with solar panels. That's how the Sun Trip bike ride participant Pauline de la Marnière joined two Expo host cities in her journey. A 25-year-old French traveler came to Astana from Antalya, the Expo 2016 host city. In general, the trip from the first departure point, Milan, took almost 2 months, with a total 9,000 kilometers. The cyclist says she wanted to promote the idea of using solar energy and also to prove that Kazakhstan is not that far away from Europe.
Go from Milan to Milan, from Expo 2015 through Expo 2016, which is in Antalya, and back to Milan. I'm only one ambassador, let's say a solar ambassador, which is goal is to open new, let's say, opportunities for Expo 2017, and perhaps maybe in 2 years do the sun trip up to Astana for Expo 2017. I lived in Kazakhstan for 2.5 years, so for me, Astana has a special place in my heart, and for me, as it was Expo 2017, it was a perfect opportunity, and the Sun Trip organization asked me if I wanted to be the solar ambassador to Expo 2017, and for me that made a lot of sense because I've worked here, I know more or less the people, I've traveled around Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstanis are organizing another 550-kilometer marathon, signifying the 550th anniversary of the Kazakhanate with the national flag in their hands. The athletes Balgabay Kulpisev and Kalibek Abilov are set to start this wonderful journey. Starting their way from the Ablai Khan field in Kokshetau, the athletes arrived in Astana. By August 10th, they plan to reach the Ulitau Mountains in the Karaganda region. According to the activists, from the start of the marathon, they feel increased attention. Some want to be photographed with them, and some offer free rides.
Почему именно флаг мы держим, бежим? Это, конечно, тяжело.
Why we want to have the Kazakh flag in our hands? It is certainly hard, but when athletes are just running, people don't notice them. But with the flag in our hands, people on the buses, in trains, pay more attention. They will stop and ask us about the reasons and purposes of this marathon.
Kazakhstan was in contention to hold the Winter Olympic Games for the 3rd time. Heavy favorites have always been among Almaty's competitors. Over the years, the right to host the Olympic Games was won by Norway, Russia, and now China. Artemy Stomin will tell us about the difficulties on the way to the bid's final and why participation is as important as a win.
Kazakhstan has prepared fundamentally for the 2022 Winter Olympics bid, especially as 4 years ago the country has already hosted a large-scale sporting venue, the Asian Games. The almost 70% readiness, compactness, and climate were among the advantages of Almaty because the southern Kazakhstan city was far ahead of Beijing by the amount of natural snow.
Мировой спортивный мир, конечно же, воспринял нашу страну как...
The sports world, of course, took our country as a serious contender and accordingly acknowledged that our sports facilities meet international standards.
Признал то, что наши спортивные объекты соответствуют мировому уровню.
The IOC Commission was impressed by the sports facilities in Almaty, both the existing and the ones under construction. However, it was challenging for Almaty to compete with China that already had the experience of Summer and Youth Olympic Games. Kazakhstanis believed in the victory of Almaty to the last moment. Well, we were certainly very excited. It is a pity. I hope that Kazakhstan will still show its capacity in the future Olympics to come. I'm sure that Almaty showed its advantages, and sooner or later it will reach the finish line and we will get the possibility to host a major international sports event, one of the most important events in the life of athletes. Beijing won the right to host the 2022 Winter Olympic Games, but in 2 years Almaty will host the World Winter Universiade, so the international community will hear about Kazakhstan and note the achievements of country's athletes. We need to prove and show that the bid to host the Winter Olympic Games in 2022 was not in vain. We should build all the sports facilities and improve the infrastructure in Almaty so our residents could just enjoy and be proud of our city. The competition for the right to host a major winter event that runs every 4 years is, of course, an invaluable experience, and the most relevant Olympic motto says participation is as important as winning.
A diving festival gathered several hundred amateur divers and fishermen in the East Kazakhstan region. Kazakh and Russian divers also held master classes during the festival. In general, there are 10 amateur clubs. Its members not only had a chance to improve their skills, but also open new tourist itineraries.
The representative of the Russian Federation of Underwater Sports, Matvey Malinkin, has given his final recommendations to the participants of the festival. In Kazakhstan, the coach has brought up more than 70 divers. Here, he's an expert and mentor.
Цель больше всего была собрать дайверов, подводных охотников.
The goal was to gather the divers and underwater hunters from all regions to understand at what level the sport is being developed currently.
Развитие данного вида спорта.
Getting the target designator, athletes dived into the water. They had to go through several stages to dive and hold breath and to show underwater navigation elements at a depth of 10 to 12 meters. Astana athletes prepared very well for the competition. These athletes have a wealth of experience in the sport. They hunted in Malaysia, Russia and Turkey, but admit that there are no better conditions than in Kazakhstan. It is hard to compare where it is better to dive. There are different fish, but after having hunted in Aktal, I realized that sea as good as the Turkish coast, the Black Sea as well. The diving festival will be expanded by the beach season 2016. Organizers promise to attract up to 500 participants from near and far abroad.
These were the main news for the past week on Kazakh TV. You're watching the news summary from Kazakhstan, my home country. I'm Jana Sagandikova. I'll see you soon. Have a good and productive week. Goodbye.